welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Happy Friday. Hopefully you guys are having a great and exceptional day. This is my third broadcast in Toronto, Canada. So it's all good in the neighborhood. And will be my last, unless I decide to just go live someplace, but this will be the last of it all. Hopefully you guys had a great week. And, I definitely will say that I sponsor people going to Canada. It's a very nice country. It's like America and Europe Part 2 all together, but it's got a great vibe. I mean, heck, like one thing I can say that my own gym that I go to, I'm a part of, because I go to another gym back in my home, but when I usually on vacation, if I go to Houston, I go to LA, Atlanta, I usually go to LA Fitness. But lo and behold, that they have LA Fitness in Canada. So I just got back from there 20-30 minutes ago. So it's a different vibe out here, man. I like going to places where people got a little bit of a laid back mindset. People are seem a lot more humble. I mean, I've run across a couple of douchebags, but that's no matter where you go in this world, you're gonna find people who are just miserable and pieces of crap and have a crappy mindset and crappy attitude. So that's just, you can't escape that at the end of the day. But anyways, today's word of the day is worthy. Worthy stands for one's worth, or is one worthy of your time? Is one worthy of your energy? And like one thing I can say about 2022 is I found that a lot of people are not worth my time and they're not worth my energy. So I just stopped talking to them. If anybody ever, and I remember seeing, and I was surprised seeing a quote from Capricorns, because everybody has their sign. I'm a Capricorn. So it said one sign of a Capricorn is when they're done with you, they just stop talking to you. There's not going to be an explanation. They're just done. That's how I am. I'm a person that I'm a love, peace, and happiness kind of guy. I do not like a lot of conflict when it's not necessary. I actually try to go out of my way to avoid conflict, But a lot of people in society beg to differ, and that's cool. A lot of people in society think it's, you're a coward or you're full of crap because you don't deal with somebody anymore because of their attitude or because of what they want from you, or just because there's no future with them. And as I get older, I don't want to be around people that I have no future with. Friendships, relationships, family members, it's just not worth it anymore, And it doesn't have to mean that everything has to be business related. I don't have to always get something from you, but I got to be able to talk to you about something outside of what happened 20 years ago. I got to be able to engage with you in a discussion outside of what celebrities are talking about. That's just the thing. I got to be able to engage with you outside of who's going to win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl. That's just one thing that I, as a grown man, as 40 years old, can say that with all sincerity. So you're not really worthy of my time on a regular and consistent basis. I can always acknowledge somebody, be nice and decent to people. I've always been that way, period. Like, I remember what it was like to be a janitor. I remember what it was like to be a landscaper. I remember what it was like to work at a retail store. I remember what it was like. My first job was at McDonald's. So I remember working the quote unquote low wage jobs. And I would never ever look down on anybody who does work a low wage job, because a start is a start. A lot of people have become millionaires off of just working at a fast food company because they got to learn the ins and outs of it, and then they became a manager, and in certain instances they became a franchise owner. It's all about perspective at the end of the day, but for my mindset is I always end up running into people that just want to discuss back in the day or talk about who's playing who in a football game. If you see my content enough, I don't knock people who are sports fans. I'm just not one. So if that doesn't make me the man's man, then it is what it is. I'm into adventures. I'm into going places and doing different things. If the pandemic didn't teach me anything, it taught me that you have to get out and enjoy this freaking life, because it can be taken away from you just like that. 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to even come to this country right now because everything was on lockdown. And in America, we opened up quicker, faster than Europe did, than Canada did, than a lot of countries did, And I get it, because it was a crazy time. Whatever you feel about that whole pandemic, it was a crazy time. And it just, I came out of the pandemic being more grateful and being more humble and having more gratitude, because I remember what it was like to not be able to even go to sit at a bar, go to work out at a gym. The simple things in life. So that's why I always say, it's like, to my people who are getting older in my age range between 35 and 50, get out and go somewhere. Stop just binging on your cell phone on social media. And I mean to sound like a jerk when I say this. Stop just looking at Hulu. Stop looking at Netflix. If you have the means and the capability, get up and get out and do something. Because I'm telling you, there are plenty of people. Like, great example, there was a person, I went up to the CN Tower in Toronto yesterday, and there was this older gentleman in a wheelchair, and I'm telling you, the lines were insane. It took me an hour to get up that tower and 40 minutes to get down that tower because how many people. It's the biggest tourist attraction in the city of Toronto, Canada. Long story short, this older gentleman was in a wheelchair. Him and his wife. His wife was pushing him, and they got up, and they would get up, and they sat in line, stood in line. I thought they, and he should have got preferential treatment to go to the front of the line because not even just, I think it's just the right thing to do. But he was just like, he was in a cheery mood. He's like, hey, I want, I heard him say to somebody because he was in front of me, is I've been waiting to do this my whole life. He's like, I just came from Kansas City, Kansas, and this is a notch off my bucket list in life. And he has such a great spirit about him. Get up and get out and see the freaking world. Life is bigger than these freaking social media apps. Life is bigger than freaking Hulu and Netflix. And hey, I indulge in these things as well. But get up and get out and do something. Just because you're old doesn't mean you're getting older. Does not mean you're freaking dead. Get up, get out, and do something and live your freaking life. Now, it's one thing if you're an entertainer, you can enjoy being at home in peace and quiet, because people or anybody who has a job that they're constantly on the road, like a trucker, people who do any sort of blue collar work or any other kind of jobs that require you to be on the road constantly, I get the fact that you enjoy being at home. I'm not knocking that. But to the people that have regular everyday jobs like myself, and the people who just go to work, take care of their family, and binge on video games, social media, and Hulu and Netflix, I'm going to say shame on you in 2023. That is not a life worth living. And the person who constantly sits down is a person who constantly withers away. Think on that. And my bad. Today's quote of the day is by Kardinal Offishall, who, if it wasn't for him, he doesn't get enough respect in my personal opinion, because everybody loves Drake. I'm not knocking Drake. I did a quote for Drake yesterday. But Kardinal Offishall is the main reason why I came to Toronto, Canada, is because I always wanted to see the city. He made Toronto, Canada cool, especially in the black community in the United States of America and other Western countries. Like, I knew that black people lived in Canada, but I didn't realize that many black people lived in Canada, especially if you just look from the, because Canada is basically under the Royal Crown, and with a lot of French influence all at the same time. But so, because those are the two countries or European powers that dominated Canada before Canada became its own nation. But anyways, not either way, you had, from the American Revolutionary War, you had a lot of former slaves who fought on the British side, who was able to go to Nova Scotia in Canada and other parts of Canada. Then you look at the Underground Railroad with Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, where a lot of slaves escaped to the north, and then it got to the point where the U.S. Continental Congress passed the legislation saying, hey, if you don't have papers and you get caught in the north, you have to be returned back to the south, because it was all about business and numbers. And so then after that, a lot of escaped slaves had to go mostly through New York to get to Canada. And where's the passageway right there? Niagara Falls, Ontario, where I'm at. I'm about to go to Niagara Falls right now. So that's the little bit of black history in Canada. And I'm sure there's way more. I'm going to go to a black museum tomorrow, 2 museums tomorrow, go to the beach tomorrow, and that's going to be it for my Canada trip. But anyways, Kardinal Offishall says, think about everything that you hear, feel everything that you see, love everything that is worthy of love. I could not agree with that statement more. Love everything that is worthy of love and dismiss everything that's not. On that note, do the great three things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money moves, or you're going to live, bro, like a fool. Take care.